MP for the UP says there is a disconnect and a lack of communication between the CEO and the workers at the airport. Methodist Agaric Center to celebrate 45-year anniversary, and a wreath-laying ceremony at the Marie Genevieve de Weaver Primary School. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, March the 9th, 2021. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you this evening, so let's get started. In our first story, a wreath-laying ceremony was held earlier today at the Marie Genevieve de Weaver Primary School in honor of Miss Jenny's 106th birthday. In this broadcast, you will hear from two of the speakers, which included the adjunct school manager, Mrs. S. Matthew White, and from a former student of Miss Jenny, Miss S. Fleming.
To our 106th birthday, wreath-laying for the late Miss Jenny de Weaver. Because of the COVID situation, we decided to do a brief ceremony. We try not to make it too large. So welcome, enjoy our ceremony, and I'm happy to see each one of you here today with us.
Miss Jenny loved teaching. Even though she was not in the classroom as a full-time teacher, she would come to Orania School every day to assist or substitute. I had the privilege of being taught by her. She was very stern, but loving at the same time. You felt and smelled her presence. Miss Jenny always had her handkerchief and her lemicol. We smelled her coming, and everyone would find their seats fast. To date, when I smell lemicol, it reminds me of her. Besides feeling her presence, we listened when she spoke and paid attention. In 1964, Miss Jenny was decorated with the honorary medal in silver in honor of Orania Nassau. In 1981, the honorary medal in gold for many years of service in the community. Ms. Jenny passed away on August 8, 1992.
And in his address, the Minister of Education, the Honorable Rodolphe Samuel, said that today, March 9th, we come to commemorate Teacher Jenny on her birthday and to honor her dedication and love by laying a wreath.
Her honor. So, on this date, March 9th, we come to commemorate Teacher Jenny on her birth date and to honor her dedication, her love, and we honor her by laying the wreath. As Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, I am honored to be here today to take part in this ceremony. I hope and pray that Teacher Jenny continues to rest in peace. I thank you.
Meanwhile, school manager Mrs. Stuart Johnson said the school will be hosting a number of activities in observation of the day, and he gave us a rundown. He also said that what he is hoping to do is incorporate into the school song more elements of who Miss Jenny was, and when asked how the school is coping amid the COVID-19 pandemic, he had this to say.
Well, the first thing today was to pay homage to Miss Jenny, as she was affectionately known, Marie Genevieve de Weaver. Miss, if we look at St. Martin as a whole, we're in a time where we can reevaluate, assess, and take forward where we want to go as a country. And the COVID pandemic has allowed us to do that in one form or the other. So coming back in education, I thought more than fitting for us to recognize our very own Miss Jenny, as she was affectionately known, is who the school was named after. I felt that the students should know who they are going, which was the name of the school that they're going to, who she was. And this morning's ceremony was that, to pay tribute to her, because she was an educator within public education. She worked long beyond her years, even in pensionable age back then, still teaching students. So that showed her love for the country, her love for her students, and her love for education in general.
As you look forward to hosting several activities in observation of the anniversary, anything in particular that you're looking forward to, at least seeing done during these anniversaries?
Well, what we hope to do is also incorporate in the school song more elements of who Miss Jenny was. It's not a total revision of the school song, but a slight revision. We're also going to change the logo of the school that will also incorporate Miss Jenny as a part of the school logo and other national elements of St. Martin. The reason for that is, of course, this school is a homegrown school. It was formerly known as Sucker Garden Primary School. So from that, we need to incorporate more of St. Martin. And that will invoke a sense of pride, not only in our students, but a sense of ownership and belonging to even those in the community that this school is a St. Martin public school and will be here for a very, very long time to come.
COVID-19 has been posing a challenge to many of the island's institutions, Mr. Johnson. How do you cope in the midst of COVID?
Well, you know, we've taken all precautions necessary. We've adhered to the guidelines as provided by the Ministry of VSR and the Education Ministry. In particular, our school has also taken operational measures, and to date we have had 0 cases of any COVID at our school. We take all measures very seriously. There's constant sanitation and constant disinfecting of frequently touched surfaces. There's also a temperature check upon entry and sanitation of hands. There's also the open air ventilation, which has been proven scientifically to work in the classrooms. All classrooms are urged to keep all windows open, and of course within the classroom there's socially distanced seating. So with that, we have seen that all those measures have worked thus far. We thank God Almighty for that, and we look forward to continued no COVID cases at our school for the sake of our students, staff, as well as those who come in on appointment base only.
And as we continue now with more school-related news, tomorrow, Wednesday, March the 10th, the Methodist Agoghic Center, MAC, will be celebrating their 45th year anniversary. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, however, the many planned events in observation of the occasion will be held in a virtual setting. The celebration will kick off with a digital church service Wednesday night starting at 7 p.m. Speaking to the Voice of St. Martin's News Department and in giving some insight into their planned activities, the Executive Director at the MAC, Mrs. Rose Hughes Coram, said that they will also be recognizing some of their long-serving school board members.
This year, because of the pandemic, COVID-19, we have decided that we will not be coming together as we would have normally, especially for this 45th anniversary celebration. But many of our activities will be online. We are having a virtual Thanksgiving service that will be aired on the 10th of March via our Facebook page at 7 o'clock p.m. During this month of March as well, the school board will be recognizing some of its long-serving school board members. To name 2 persons like Mr. Nathaniel Richardson and Nurse Ramona Illich, who have been on the school board for more than 20 years. In addition, we have decided to document some of the history of the MAC. So we have invited persons like our founder, Reverend John A. Gomes, who resides in Anguilla, to give us a glimpse into the time when the whole idea was started for us to have an English elementary school to cater to the needs of our community. So we're going to have a documentary. Reverend Gomes is a part of it. We have our first executive director, Mrs. Josiane Fleming Artson. We have a number of school managers, teachers. We're going to have Dr. Velda James, who was the first school manager of MAC CSE. She's going to be a part of that as well. In addition to a number of persons who were there from the inception of the MAC since 1976. So this is going to be a way for us to document our history, being where we have started, 1976, to where we are now. A lot of persons have contributed to the growth and the development of this institution, and we felt it very fitting at this time for us to take a pause, reflect, and also to appreciate the contributions of those persons.
You made mention of the documentary to be had, Mrs. Hughes. When exactly will that take place and from what time?
Well, the documentary, it's a number of persons. It's over 10 persons. So we are going to use the month of March, and we're going to release the information, the interviews, at least 2 at a time. It's going to start on March 10th, which is our actual 45th anniversary, our founding day. and it's going to run for the entire month. It's going to be on our Facebook page, which is Foundation Methodist Agoric Center, as well as our website, which is www.macsxm.org.
Anything in particular been planned for your students at the MAC?
Well, at the campus level, all locations will be doing activities within the school with the students, remembering our founders, learning about our founders, who they were, what contributions they made, the history of the MAC, our chairman of the school board, our chaplains of the school board, just recapping all the history. We're also going to give the students an opportunity to write poems and songs and raps, in order for them to be able to present. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Prime Minister, Honorable Severia Jacobs, the Minister of Education, Mr. Rudolph Samuel, for their congratulatory remarks. Their remarks will also form a part of the documentary, as well as our virtual service, and all other persons who made a contribution towards the celebration of our 45th anniversary. A great big thank you to all.
And in other news at this time, Women's Desk, a division within Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs from the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, Ministry VSA, in collaboration with prominent women, honored 20 women on March the 8th, International Women's Day, who have done exemplary work in the community, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown. Considering the COVID-19 guidelines, the celebration was somewhat restricted and downscaled in an attempt to conduct the event as efficiently as possible. The honorees were Ashma Burkle, Ava Williams, Jacqueline Barry, Mary Bryson, Avril Gums, Olivia Murray, Selma Sarant, Napolina Richardson, Minerva Clement, Helen Christina Romeo, Rosemary Brown, Natasha Manuela, Gracia Landloff, Rina Hector, Hanisha Ajay, Alwani, Ananda Vital, Beth Minister, Corinne Isaac, Mavlet Edwards, and Ilsa Templemans Platt. The Master of Ceremony, MC for the event, was Simona Morton, and the keynote speaker was Apostle Napolina Richardson, who spoke about cultural biases. The attendees toasted to committing to choose to challenge not only on March the 8th, but throughout their lifetime. The organizing department and organization through this great event hopes to encourage not only women, but more people in the community to choose for. From challenge comes change, which can help forge an inclusive country with extension to the world. And still to come, the St. Martin Sports and Olympic Federation holds its annual general meeting. And I'll have the detail to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
Hi, I'm Switch.
And I'm Save.
And together we're here
to tell you about WIB, Switch, and Save Mortgage Offer.
Now at WIB, you can save and benefit from great specials when you decide
to bring your mortgage to WIB.
When you switch, WIB will offer you
payment of penalty fees up to 3 months interest,
payment of notary fees,
waive of bank closing fees,
and also the lowest interest rate.
Plus, you'll have the chance to win back 1 year of interest payment.
Visit any of WIB's mortgage specialists and benefit from WIB's Switch and
Hey, that's my part. And Save Mortgage Offer.
WIB, your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie van Putten. And now in some news out of the Netherlands, the outgoing Dutch cabinet is expected to extend its urgent appeal that the public avoid all unnecessary travel up to April the 15th due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Around that time, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs could reduce some regional travel warnings down to the code yellow level, which indicates that a risk exists and that travelers need to pay attention to them, Newswire ANP reported recently based on interviews with sources. Currently, all countries are at either the heightened code orange level or the most severe code red. Many of the regions placed under code red are at that risk level due to political instability or areas where residents of the Netherlands must exercise extreme caution, not necessarily because of health issues. At a press conference on Monday last, Prime Minister Mark Rutte and Health Minister Hugo de Jonge was supposed to divulge more about how the country's coronavirus policy will affect the May vacation period and summer holiday planning. We would love to say something about traveling abroad on Monday and when we can say something about the May holiday, Rutte told the Telegraph newspaper during a meeting with the editorial staff there. The newspaper said that loosening up the travel policy could come with a new restriction requiring people to quarantine when they arrive back in the Netherlands. Cabinet members will discuss that plan later on next week. And now back on St. Martin, the employees at the Princess Juliana International Airport are dissatisfied with the CEO of the airport. And member of the UP, the Honorable Omar Otley, says that there is a disconnect and a lack of communication between the CEO and the workers because when you have workers protesting, there is an issue. That conclusion was reached on Friday last by the Member of Parliament, and the MP said that the airport right now is our most important asset, and its most important asset are the workers. Therefore, they are his most important asset. And while he has no personal issue with the CEO, Mr. Brian Mingo, however, if by August the 19th they do not have a St. Martin bred CFO in place, he will support his colleagues 100%.
Leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. Leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. Reason I say this is that there's a lack of communication between the CEO and the workers at the airport. When you have workers protesting, when you have employees taking their whole day to sit here, and by their response, Mr. Mingo, through you, Minister, we see where they're headed. We see that there's a disconnect and there's a problem. Matter of fact, if the Honorable Chairman, Mr. Rolando Bryson, didn't set rules, we probably won't have no space in here. There's an issue. The airport right now is our most important asset. Its most important asset are the workers. Therefore, they are my most important asset. Without them, we have no economy. Without the economy, we have a failing country. See, I don't need to talk for an hour. We can clearly see what's going on. We hear the sentiments of every MP that spoke. While I have no personal issue with you, Mr. Mingo, I must say this. If by August 19th, which is supposed to be 2 years of when this agreement was made, August 19th, we do not have a local St. Martin bred CFO in place, I will support my colleagues 100%, and we will do whatever it is in our power to ensure that there's a change in the management board. I'm not going to go into a whole long speech. I'm going to say it again. I hope that the names that a fellow MP called today are not true. Because of those two names, none were St. Martin bred. We held our end of the bargain. The CFO is here. I'm tired of hearing this. If a local CFO counterpart is not placed, matter of fact, August is too long. If it's not placed within immediately, I will have to publicly support my colleagues and their request for a change in the CEO.
And as we continue now in some sports-related news, the St. Martin Sports and Olympic Federation held its annual general meeting and sports conference. The event, which took place at the Bel-Air Community Center and started shortly before 10 a.m. Sunday, attracted representatives from several sports organizations, including swimming, baseball, basketball, football, fencing, drag racing, auto, motor, pool and billiard, judo and cycling. On hand for the occasion was, among others, the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Randers Rodolphe Samuel, who delivered the opening remarks. In his opening speech, he reflected on the many challenges sports development face and continue to endure during the COVID-19 pandemic.
As we focus on sports on St. Martin, we can conclude that the development of sports has faced and is facing many challenges. The year 2020 has been a challenging one for sports, not only on St. Martin, but worldwide. Preparations for international games and qualifying games all have been affected by the COVID pandemic. All has been put on hold, awaiting the permission from the International Olympic Committee to resume sports. Here on St. Martin, we too are facing the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We were faced with a 4-month lockdown and the phased opening of the economy. Sports has been affected due to the sports facilities being closed and regulations for the safety of everyone being imposed. Yet, through it all, you were steadfast in promoting your sports. You, who represents your sport, is the driving force of your sport. You have found ways to resume your sport once the permission was granted for this to commence.
And in this COVID-related item, as of March the 8th, there were 4 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, 2 persons have recovered, bringing the total active cases to 19. The total number of confirmed cases is now 2,074. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 18 people in home isolation. 1 patient is hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 27. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 2,028. 22 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS. The Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Airport Health Team, in collaboration with the Healthcare Laboratory St. Martin, ACLS, have tested 2,546 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport, while CPS has tested 21,103 people throughout the community. And as the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. CPS has reported a total of 6,957 persons who have registered to be vaccinated. 2,042 vaccines have been administered. 138 vaccines was administered today. And as we continue to work towards achieving 0 active cases on St. Martin, Minister of Health Richard Panafleck reminds everyone to be cautious and wear a mask when in public. Practice 2-meter social distancing, sanitize and wash your hands frequently, and remain cautious of large gatherings. Now, turning to our weather forecast for March the 9th, 2021, the Atlantic high pressure ridge will generate a gentle to moderate wind flow across the region. Patches of low-level clouds drifting with the wind will account for a few brief showers. A small crab advisory is now in effect for St. Martin, as seas are expected to gradually deteriorate and peak at 8 feet tonight. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise caution. So the outlook through Thursday midday, partly cloudy and breezy with brief isolated showers possible. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, 2 persons arrested for domestic violence. I'll have the details to that story when I return. Stay tuned.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, the increase in the number of reports of domestic and family violence is an eminent cause for concern by St. Martin Police Force of St. Martin. Members of the Detective Department are investigating 2 unrelated cases of domestic violence that took place over the last week where the victims were severely injured. On Wednesday last, March 3, 2021, the patrol arrested a woman with the initials MMMB on Windsor Road after she doused her husband with hot water following an altercation. 2 days later, on March 5, 2021, the patrol arrested a man with the initials VP living in Over the Bank after he had assaulted his wife following an argument. Both suspects were taken to the police station where they are being held for questioning. It is evident that an increase in community awareness is needed in order to bring this abusive behavior to a drastic halt. This behavior should no longer be considered as a private matter. It is recognized by all sectors that abusive behavior towards a person in a relationship constitutes criminal behavior and is punishable by law. The St. Martin Police Force, KPSM, is actively committed to improving our operational response to this crime. Persons choosing to engage in abusive behavior will be held accountable for their actions. It is just a matter of time. Instead of engaging in this illegal act, choose to walk away from the situation. You alone are responsible for your behavior. Do the right thing and put a stop to domestic violence. And in this other item from the police blotter, the police patrols were directed by the Central Dispatch to a jewelry store on the Maho Strip on Monday, March the 8th, 2021, around 2 p.m. for an armed robbery that had just taken place. According to the information gathered on the scene, 3 men dressed in dark clothing and brandishing a firearm entered the store and robbed the store at gunpoint. They took away jewelry and the cash register. After robbing the establishment of an unknown amount of jewelry and cash, the suspects stepped onto some waiting scooters that were parked outside the store. They fled the scene in the direction of Mullet Bay. A search was performed by the patrols in the area of Mullet Bay for the suspects, but without the desired results. The Special Unit Robbery, SUR, is requesting any information from persons who may have seen or recognized the suspects connected in this investigation to share this information with the investigating detectives. And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.